What's going on, YouTube? We back at it with another video. In today's video, we're going to talk about communication and how communication ain't nothing without comprehension. All right, now let's just jump straight into it, okay? So let's how we usually do it in the videos. How I usually like to do it is kind of break down, right, communication and then comprehension, right? And then also the variable of it not being very effective without the other, one without the other, right? And so, because how can you comprehend something that hasn't been communicated, whether it be verbally or non-verbally, right? There's two ways of communication, right? We can just start off with that. We can just start off with communication. There's two types of communications. There's non-verbal communication, right? Actually, my bad. Verbal communication, right? That's speaking out the mouth. That's making sound, right? Formulating sentences, right? Phrases, words, right? Sighs, right? Growling, right? Just whatever. Then we have nonverbal, right? And that's body language, right? Crossing the arms. It could be looking away. Micro expressions where it's real fast, where it's like a real quick, right? There's those. We have somebody's posture, right? Are they antsy? Are they twitching, right? Are they trying to distract themselves? You feel me? Are they fidgeting? Those are all types of communication, right? Or signs of communication. Basically, a language to communicate the body to basically show or express what is going on inside. Realistic, right? And so kind of understanding the right, the title is communication is nothing without comprehension. And essentially it's because if you communicate to something or someone and it cannot comprehend what you say to it, like what you're saying, if it cannot receive what you are saying, it's as if you're talking to a wall, right? Because talking to somebody and you can clearly see that they cannot understand or even grasp the meaning of the words that you've said, it really invokes a lot of negative emotions, right? It causes the person to have to take a step back, right? And take inventory, right? And self-regulate, you know what I mean? Because it's as if like trying to communicate with a toddler, right? Or a 2-year-old, a 5-year-old, right? Trying to basically describe to them or explain why something isn't funny or something could be hurtful. And they deem it as funny, right? But that's because they cannot comprehend beyond their year. They're only 5 years old. I mean, their brain's not fully developed yet. You know what I mean? And so obviously that's an extreme, right? And I can kind of dial it back, right? We can dial it back to more common, more like neutral in the sense of where both people that are engaging in conversation are of the same age, right? In order to comprehend, you also have to have a foundation of self, right? A baseline of common sense, or wherever you are on the level, right? On the spectrum, right? And so the reason why you have to comprehend what somebody is communicating to you and is because that's the way of life. That's how we communicate, right? The two ways, nonverbal and verbal. And I think a lot of people nowadays are trying to make up a whole new way of, talking, which is expectations and them not being verbalized. If you expect something out of somebody without letting them know that is something you expect, you are inadvertently setting yourself up for failure. One, it's not a mature, right, choice of action, right, to the best way, right, to communicate what you need or what you want, right, or even just your expectations, your standards, requirements, whatever. But it also leads to resentments. And this is also bringing it back to why comprehending what somebody communicates to you and or what you communicate to somebody else is important, is because if you are saying, I think or this color is orange, and the other person is coming from the aspect or the perspective of thinking that the car, right, is the object that you guys are describing, the color of it is red, you guys are going to have two different conversations. Even though those colors can be similar depending on how light the shade is or how dark the shade is, those colors can be mistaken, right? Right? And so just with the slight difference in color, right? Not even slight, there's a difference obviously, right? But in this example, a slight difference, you guys can have two different conversations, think you guys are talking about the same thing, right? One sees orange, the other one sees red. And so the only similarities that they know that they're both talking about is the object and the color of the object that they're describing. But they're having two different conversations because they're coming from two different perspectives, two different points, right? And so if neither one of them acknowledges the other and just understanding, they're like, okay, this is my perspective. Okay, that's your perspective. Okay, that's cool. Now, if it's that serious of a problem, right, or an issue, right, or it's a debate and we need an answer, just get a third perspective, right? And if that doesn't satisfy, get another one and get another one, right? But you have to be reasonable, right? But this goes in and this plays into so many areas and so many relationships and so many aspects of life that in order to communicate effectively, you have to also be able to understand what it is that you are saying to the people, to your audience, right? You have to know what you're relaying to your audience, right? And if you can't even comprehend on a deep level, right, of what you are talking about, what makes you think it's going to be communicated properly if you don't even comprehend it yourself, let alone the other person to comprehend and to receive it and comprehend what you're saying if you don't even know what you're saying? You see what I'm saying? So kind of playing, or not playing with, but kind of just going a little bit more deeper into this, or more so a little side note is comprehension is so important. And I think too many people nowadays are okay with being complacent, or whatever they know in present time is good enough. There's always a part or a place in your life that can improve, whether it be your speech, whether it be how you interact with people, whether it be your mood, whether it be your attitude, whether it be your emotional regulation, whether it be your conflict resolution skills, whether it be management of finances, your self-control, right, your self-doubt, your opinion of self, whether it be whatever it is, right, you could always improve somewhere, right? Maybe physically, right? You want to get in shape, right? There's always some aspect of life that you can get better in. That doesn't mean that never be grateful, right, of how far you've came, but that's the only reason you should look back, is to see how far you've come, right? But just in the sense of, when it comes to communication, a lot of people stop reading. A lot of people don't read. They don't read after school. After high school, that's the last time they read a book. I'm telling you out here, like the average level reading is like grade 6. Grade 6, bro. Like it might even be lower. I don't know off the top of my head, but ain't no way it's higher than 6th grade. I'm telling you. And that's not to like talk down on people that haven't read or you know, whatever, because life takes people in so many different ways, and there's so many different situations and circumstances and so many different reasons and just things that happen in life. But two things that you can be very good at, and it takes when I tell you 10 minutes a day could improve your speech, your vocabulary, your understanding, your reasoning. 10 minutes a day. 10 minutes a day. You read 10 minutes a day. Try to stay to fiction. Try to stay away from nonfiction. Try to stay read nonfiction. Try to stay away from fiction. Is what I'm saying. Read 10 minutes a day. For 3 whole months, read 10 minutes a day. And just look back. Take a video. I challenge you guys, whoever sees this and has watched up to this point, I challenge you. Record a video. The first day, day 1, record a video and just talk. Talk about whatever it is that you want to do today, that you did today, whatever. 2 minutes, a 2-minute video, and just talk. And then at the end of 3 months, record another video and see the words you use. See the difference in words and choice of words you use. That's all I'm saying. So, just to wrap this up, I appreciate everybody watching, everybody that's tuned in. I know I've been going for a little minute. I'm trying to get back on this consistency, on this grind, and to stay disciplined and consistent with uploading. I know that not being consistent messes up the algorithm and it doesn't reach as many people. But if you could help your brother out and like, comment, and subscribe to your boy, you know what I'm saying? Getting this good news that y'all could use. But just kind of wrapping it up. Just want everybody to remember, don't block your blessings, second guessing on good things. A good lifestyle has bad days too. And keep stuff private until it's permanent. And I'm going to catch you on the next one. Peace.